Well, hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Conversations with a Vet. My name is Carol Lee. I have a great guest waiting in the wings for our conversation tonight. I wanted to talk a couple of things, or at least one in particular. If you've been following my channel here in the last couple months, you may have heard me talk about Grow Coffee, and this is the brand. It is a locally owned and operated business. They are out of North Carolina. They actually will roast all of their own coffee beans. And so if you haven't had an opportunity, you can go out to the web and take a look at what they have to offer. They have the K cups, they have the beans, the ground. So check them out. A great company, really good flavor too. So if you haven't had that opportunity, you can do that. A big shout out to a couple of friends of mine who have completed a book that they had been writing. Travis Partington, Marine Corps veteran, as well as Gina, and she is a Navy veteran. And both of them were guests on my channel. And it is called, I believe, Unchained 3.0. And so if you're interested in getting your hands on a copy of that book, go ahead and message me, conversationswithavet@gmail.com, or put a comment in the chats for me, and I will make sure to get you the information for where you can pick that up. All right. So without further ado, please help me welcome Travis Landchild. Hello, hello.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on and telling your story. I'm really excited to hear what your story is. It's always nice because everybody's story is so different, even though, you guys walked in a lot of the same paths. And so to me, I find that intriguing how everybody interprets what they did and where their mindset is at that moment. So I like to start my shows out by asking my guests who you were as a child. So who was Travis as a kid?
I was the odd one out. I grew up in the 90s before diagnosing what it was. Geez, my little sister was only 4 years younger than me, and all of a sudden, those labels were thrown around at her classmates. But I was, he's just really excited, or he's overly, he's very creative, but he won't focus. And
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah.
I did sixth grade twice, and that was a big, as a child, the big thing of my childhood was in sixth grade. I stayed at the elementary school. My classmates went on to middle school. I lose my peer group. My
Right.
dad leaves that year and divorce, and my older sister, who was 9 years older than me, moves off to college. So it was like a lot of things changed all of a sudden. I kind of grew up young after that,
Yeah.
fast and young, uh, and then I was kicked out of the house at 16.
Oh,
Um,
wow. So were you able to finish school?
yep. Yeah, I went from the C student to um, I got kicked out. The next year, I take 5 science classes, both my language, all the history, everything I need to graduate, A's and B's. Senior year, I just start working.
So you didn't have time for sports?
I did soccer for 11 years during my youth,
Oh.
and I was huge into Boy Scouts, and I was an Eagle Scout.
Wow. Okay. So you're working. At what point did the thought of military cross your mind?
Oh, I had a recruiter, you know, I'm prime meat kid out on the streets, living in somebody's garage, whatever, couch hopping, let's get you stable with the army or whatever, right? And my recruiter gave up on me and got me a job at a cafe. That's how
Wow.
not going into the military I was.
But the fact that he went that extra step,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
finding that's amazing.
And then he recruited four of my friends because I would always give him discounts at the cafe he got me a job at, right? So I'm pretty sure that was the other thing. And then, but he had recruited my friends and stuff. And then, so like I was friendly with them. But, people would even be like, why aren't you trying to get, Travis in? And he'd just laugh. He'd be like, no, no, I know him well enough now. He's doing
Not
great.
gonna happen. It's not
Yeah.
gonna happen.
He would defend it. He's like, I ain't good. No. And then 9/11 happened. And I said, you come pick me up tomorrow.
So, in your mind, when you made that decision, it was that quick, or did you wait till the
I
aftermath?
mean,
And
I saw the second tower hit and I was glued to the screen all day. It's just kind of
mm,
a blur, like a lot of Americans. And, you know, just talks. When my hippie mother was like, not, you wouldn't buy me a BB gun because that's too violent on a farm. And like, to have her full swing also was like, oh, because she was like, well, if you want to, go for it. And I'm like, really? Kind of this like, so I won't be rejected by my entire family if I do this?
how old were you when you made the decision to join?
Um, 20? Because I was 21 during AIT. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And all right, so tell me a little bit about what was, if you can recall, going through your mind the moment you stepped off the bus when you got to basic training, like that moment that you get there.
They pack you into this cattle truck and haul you down there. And it was this moment that I now realize beginning moments are crucial for the experience. How you
Mhm.
start is how you play. It really is.
Yeah.
And I remember the drill sergeant was crawling on top of our freaking heads, screaming at us in the very first lose their shit moment. And I look up, and the chubby Mexican kid I'm staring right at because we have no face room is just shaking so fast that his chubby cheeks, he just lost weight. I could tell he just lost enough weight that he has saggy cheeks that are jiggling the opposite direction
Oh,
that he is moving. And it was hilarious. And we started laughing. I started laughing at his face. He started laughing at me laughing. And we were just hysterically laughing. And that was my basis of survival for the rest of basic was laughter.
humor. Yeah.
Yeah, just laugh. Get us in trouble, laughter. Make fun of the drill instructor, get everybody smoked, laughter. It was like a whole other role I could step into. And
How did
and
that go with your DIs?
uh it was okay. It was like you know, uh I got attention and suffered it, and then came right back for it, suffered it way more, and then I paced myself on coming back for attention. Like, you know what I mean? Then I picked my battles. I'm not gonna fuck with them today. I'm sore. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow, and then I'm gonna let them have it because I got a joke I've been sitting on forever. Yeah, yeah, it was great. And so like, and also the platoon was like, oh, stop doing it. But then also, it took like four more times, and then the platoon's like, this is fucking hilarious. This is better than just getting smoked. Now we're getting smoked while we're laughing. Like, really, you learn that like they're getting smoked too, and no one's laughing over there. At least we're the ones laughing while we're doing it. And so like my squad was just very jovial. Took
So
one
they
kid.
didn't mind that you were having them get smoked
Oh
because of
no,
your.
he minded. Yeah, definitely. But it was a matter of timing. It was kind of interesting. He'd pull me aside and he wouldn't be like, "Don't fucking do that." He'd be like, "If you're gonna do that, do it after 3. We don't have shit going on then." I'm like, "Oh, I was getting away with your. I was getting in the way of your schedule,
Yeah.
not anything else." Oh, okay. He's like, "I don't mind doing a good smoking, but fuck, because they
Yeah.
also had civilians walking around with clipboards, and anytime they were around, we did not have to do much. It was very easy all of a sudden, and I really feel that those investigators kind of ruined my basic training experience.
Interesting. So, okay. Um, what was it like for the different trainings or weeks that you had in basic training? Like, what did you have to go through as far as, I'm assuming, was there a gas chamber,
Oh yeah,
rappelling?
yeah, the normal stuff.
Did
The
you have
normal, yeah.
any particular training that you really enjoyed over another?
No, no, I
No.
never liked doing the soldier part. That was just what I had to do my work. My work
Okay.
was more important than being a soldier. And even in the basic training, I was like, yeah, I'm getting in here to be a counselor. Yeah, I'll have a gun. That's not
Had
what
you
I'm
ever?
doing. And my drill knew it, and he was like, "Boy, you're gonna get some stories. You just wait." He was like, "You are gonna get slammed," and then yeah, I did. But it was interesting. Like the whole time, the whole soldiering part was just that was duty. I did it because I had to. It was duty. There was no enjoyment. No, like no. I grew up in Boy Scouts. Camping was awesome. FTX, not awesome. Not fun camping. Sucks. So like, there's not a part of like, ooh, there's no. There was really, it was what it was exactly doing, and the fights in the beginning to the camaraderie at the end. It was pretty good training, but I could have done with another 10 pounds of muscle. Kind of missed out.
Well, so okay. I have heard. What kind of, I guess, outside of you, being humorous during your training, your basic training. Were there any other moments you can think of a funny story that happened, that maybe you didn't start, but you recall it in your head?
Oh, from that early back?
Hmm.
No, but in AIT, that's when the stuff started. Because every training's different when you go to your
Yeah.
job training, like depending on what job you're getting. I was mental health, and so like if you're going to be an X-ray technician, your drill instructor for AIT is an X-ray technician across the board. That's just how it works. Your drill is the medical thing that you're getting into. We were all special types of medical things, and medics were over there doing the super medic stuff, and but we were all the special dental, optometry, all the other stuff, and mental health was given a brain damaged freaking combat ranger, just awesome drill sergeant, but he was very severely brain damaged, and so we would do things like uh show up to PT formation in class A's and say that he told us to, and force a class A inspection, which we knew was on the schedule for 4 days from now. So we were just making him get us squared away. So on Friday we could leave early. We would do stuff like that a lot. Like every
Wow.
other week, we were doing something as a platoon to mess with him, and and it was fun, and it was I almost think it was on purpose because like they were teaching us. The first thing they did was teach us about um, soldiers as a population group, as in like they're not the same as civilians. They were just trained through basic training and through military culture, and all of that is based in a lot of psychological studies that were done in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they still use the same old data, but to create these cultural and training standards. And so I went through basic training, and then I learned exactly how I was psychologically manipulated in order to be a soldier. And I was like, well, let me
Mhm.
just rip that band-aid right back off. Like, I unraveled a lot of it just in knowing. Like, it was kind of interesting. And so, like, we then learned, like, oh, okay, we're in charge of their mental stability. Can we mess with them a little bit? Is that okay? Yeah, and so we did. You know, that's how soldiers are. You know,
Oh,
just like the medics acting like with the retractable needles that oh, it's got stuck in your arm and screwing with the guy who's afraid of needles, you know, and stuff. It's just part of, you know, how we mess with each other a little bit. But we were
what
good. Yeah.
what was it that made you decide? I mean, was that your original? That was your original MOS that you wanted, was mental health?
Yeah, if I was gonna go in, I was gonna be me. I knew me. My recruiter knew me well enough to know. It was just like he was kind of at one time was like, well, if you ever do, there is like a mental health thing. You'd be good at that. And I'm like, yeah. And then, but then when I joined up, I was like, you said mental health, right? That's a thing. I could come in as a counselor. And he's like, yeah, kind of, yeah. And boy, the experiences I could have had because I keep in contact with my peers but what I did, yeah, I got to be a counselor, like a lot.
Excellent, excellent.
What I
So how long was your AIT?
um 6 months, 9 months. There was like an extra month of like it was like 6 months of work and then or 7 or 8. Frick. It's been a
That's okay.
while. I don't know.
That's
I
okay.
bet brain damage. Anyway, at the end of it, we had to do 1 month of inpatient psych on a veteran-ish or not, just an inpatient psych ward for a month, working with patients. And I drew the worst on that. I ended up getting uh, the inpatient adolescent sexual offender ward.
Oh my.
My first patient was a 10-year-old rapist.
Oh my.
Yeah, which broke me. Of course, that's the point. You need
Right.
to break once in training before you go out there and deal with everyone's everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it was the inpatient psych ward for the veterans as well, but you know, they had to fill slots everywhere, and that was, yeah, the shortest straw
Yeah.
I've ever drawn. But
Now, were you doing this in when you're in AIT? Where were you located for that?
San Antonio.
Okay. Okay. So it wasn't, was it part of the VA psych ward that you went
That
to
was
for your
one of
training?
them. It was like 5 psych wards, VA, another one. Yeah, I don't even remember them all, but like, yeah. And we were all
Okay.
slotted at different ones, and then we'd have to sit and talk with each other about what we were all experiencing to kind of, you know, trauma share and, you know,
Yeah.
make you go, oh, and that could also happen. Yeah, all of it. Some of them, none of them was like this was 2000 one, two. It was 2002. I'm in training, so like we're not in the war zone yet. So it was psychotic breaks from Gulf War era
Yeah.
that had been living on the ward for years, stuff like that, as well. Like that my peers had to cut their teeth on.
Yeah, that's tough for anybody. That's tough. And yeah, a lot of times people don't understand the training that, counselors or mental health professionals have to go through themselves in order to understand what they're expecting their patients to share or how the patient's going to feel in doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, so definitely commend you for that. So you finish AIT, and where do you go after that?
Oh, I was in the reserves, so I kind of like dealt with that for a bit, and then I activated to Fort Lewis inpatient psych for a year working on the inpatient psych ward there in Fort Fort Lewis, Washington, Madigan Hospital on this inpatient psych ward. And that's one of the spots. If you don't go to Walter Reed or the other one, you go to us. And so we were getting guys that were having they had a psychotic break in the war zone. It's been a couple months of them being at Landchild, Germany, and then transferring to here. And they're just been on zombie meds. It's a chemical restraint is what we call it. It's what the MPs use in order to transfer them without having to gurney them the whole way. They can just kind of zombie them around. And so I saw like the most extreme of the psychological damage that the war is causing my brothers and sisters. And some of them were episodes from people deploying that it would then, from time to time, someone loses their mind because they're deploying to war.
Yeah. Not something that they wanted to have to do when they initially sign up, depending upon the time frame. Because for so long, there was a Cold War. So I get that. Mm-hmm. So from there, after a year, where do you go?
Then I go to Germany. I go active duty. I do some I'll skip the boring parts. I end up getting to Germany, being part of the Big Red One. And I was on a team of 3, one psychologist and 2 of us. I was the only mental health tech. The other guy was just a really awesome guy and a medic. Like he just talked his way into the mental health field because well, if you can do that, you obviously can handle it. It's kind of awesome. And so he worked his training and And so Pete had me read Achilles in Vietnam and On Killing, and then started me on I had to handle the brigade and then division assessment. So I was also running a survey every few months, doing 10% of the entire unit that I was in order to track data over time, anonymous survey, all that jazz. And then I could brief commanders and be like, basically I could improve morale barely. That was kind of one of the tangible things I could actually do. And so it was about like, hey, you guys have, I could show these graphs with a bunch of red on it to your commander, or you could start doing whatever for morale kind of thing. And so we started that game and hitting the ground with counseling with guys that were coming back from, because it's a unit in Germany, Big Red One. So, but that was at the time 3 units merging because we're getting rid of our German bases. And so we're like, hey, you guys over there, just now you're part of us. And so it was like, these guys were in Bosnia years back. These guys just got back from Afghanistan, and these guys just got back from Iraq, and now they're all merged in the same unit. Unit cohesion suck. Morale sucks. And now they're getting ready to deploy together. And so I was getting like guys that finally got a mental health guy for the first time, and from 3 different war zones. Wow. And so it was a lot to like grapple right off the bat.
For you or for them?
Well, I mean, for me, it's always hard for them.
So you said that at this point you're in Germany. Mm-hmm. Tell me, did you get to go out, mingle with the civilians, the locals, while you were there?
Yeah, I was married at the time to a high school sweetheart. Our marriage didn't make it the deployment, but I got to live off base in a little thorp. It wasn't even a village. It was so tiny, and made good friends with a neighbor. And yeah, I loved we were in southern Germany, in Bavarian region, so it's like where people wear lederhosen for real, like on a tractor, like So like it's the country of it's like the south of Germany kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like quaint and peaceful.
Did you have a favorite food from Germany?
Knoblauch means garlic.
Just garlic?
Yeah, I didn't know many words, but I'd look for that word. And if it's got meat stuff with garlic something in it, I'm good. I don't freaking whatever. Weird ass
Okay.
potato thing I've never had before. That's cool. It's got garlic in it. I'm fine. That's like kind of I'm a Northwestern boy, so like garlic, artichokes, and
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts are like peanut butter and jelly to other people. So like
Right.
I grew up that
Right.
way. So
Yeah.
like garlic's kind of my go-to flavor so that when I'm ordering food that I have no clue what the words are, at least I know it's a flavor I like.
That's pretty smart, actually. I think I'll have to remember that just when I go
Memorize your
in.
spice. That's it.
Right? That's it. Just pick one, you're good. Uh, okay. And you were there for how long in Germany?
3 years
3 years. From there, where did you go?
out. I mean, I went to Baghdad for 15 months during my deployment, came back to Germany, and then I was out of the army.
What was it like for in Baghdad when you first stepped there?
Gross.
In gross. What
Yeah.
kind of what was gross?
The foulness in the air is something you would
Mm.
expect if you like broke into a crypt that's been
Oh wow.
sealed away for a long time.
Okay.
Not in the open air of the wasteland. Like no, that this putridness is reserved for, you know, being close to some sort of cesspool that has a reason for it to be there, and that's the entire environment. It just has this sickening, souring flavor
Hmm.
that
You just can't get it out your nose.
yeah, and it's something that you forget about, and then you go on R&R, and it's a big. Then all of a sudden you have that experience again of like, okay, I'm back. Oh, God. And it's just everything from the pollution to the munitions to the, nothing like depleted uranium dust in the air.
Interesting. Uh, so during your time over in Germany in Baghdad, did you have an opportunity to serve beside Marines? I
A
asked
little
this
bit,
question for my son.
a little bit. Mostly now with veterans, but while I was in, I had a handful of Marines I worked with. I worked with a little bit of Seabees, a few Air Force, some weird special forces, um, pilots. Weirdly, I got to work with. As much as pilots don't talk to mental health, we have moments where we don't write notes about them, so they'll talk. And we
Yeah.
did that with EOD as well. Like, oh no, I ain't writing anything down. I'm just hanging out in your smoke pit for 4 hours. That's all. I'm not writing anything down. I'm just hanging out in your smoke
Yep.
pit for 4. That's all that's going on. I'm just killing cigarettes. That's all that's going on. And we would do that
Yeah.
because we know they won't talk,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so we just go there and listen, and that would work here and there. And then every single KIA, we would go out there for 3 days for a critical event debrief, and a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah. From going back from Baghdad to Germany, where did you go after that, or was that
Back to the States after I got out, which took about 6 months or 9 months or something. And
okay?
9 months took me to get out all the way, and then out process. And then I went to Colorado Springs for a while, and then moved to the Northwest.
What was it that? What was the turning point for you that made you decide that you wanted to leave the military?
Oh, I was just going in for a stint. I was never going to stay long. The idea of staying in for a career was ridiculous. No, I was just serving my time, doing my work. I didn't realize that I would take that mission as a lifelong mission because my mission never ended.
Right.
I didn't. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand where you're going with that. You're continuing to help and serve and
Oh yeah.
protect and
Oh,
listen.
I swore a vow of peace in the war zone.
Yeah.
I unloaded my 9 mil, filled it full of Pez, and kept one in the chamber for myself in case my brothers did fail. But they had to keep me alive, and I had to keep them in the fight. I'm in charge of their brain. They're in charge of my life. And that was the deal from then on. It was something that I had to do. Like, there's a reason chaplains are unarmed in the war zone. And for that reason, I had to walk the peaceful path to do that work. Kind
Right.
of learned it the hard way. It's like, why do they even have that reason? Then you do the job and you're like, oh, I have to do this. Oh my gosh. Like, this is so important. Otherwise, I won't make it. So that was my path, was what got me through it.
The difficulties mentally for you, right? I mean, going through listening to everybody's stories, and you having your own mental capacity expounded upon with all of this. Who did you get to talk to?
We didn't talk. We laughed, kind of hysterically. It was just the three of us. And all three of us were taking an equal share of the load.
Mm-hmm.
We were like a broken tripod. One of us was always broken. One of us was always the one, we're going easy on that day. We're taking the load from them. And sometimes it's us and the other ones have to take the load. And it was 16 hours a day of trauma counseling, 7 days a week, 6 days a week. I took Sundays off and medicated myself into sleep because I was an insomniac.
Oh gosh, that's tough as it is by itself.
Yeah. Well, it was one chicken and egg. It was like I got
Yeah.
to the war zone. I ain't sleeping now. So just had to sleep to make it work. But yeah, no, I was done. Like I said, I kind of broke mentally, and things like that happened where it was like I kind of snapped one time and then just stopped sleeping unless I medicated myself out and was a zombie for the rest of the day. So like,
Yeah.
damage was done. I'm all right now. I did my work, but I was accumulating work to be done. I had nightmares that were not mine for years that I had to cleanse.
Yeah.
I and I, in my attempt to accomplish our audacious mission to to keep the mental stability of my brothers and sisters. But in an attempt to do that and to tell the story of every story I've listened to, I started drawing those stories. I tried writing them. I'm a storyteller, not a book writer. And I can draw a comic after telling a story. This is kind of what I've realized. After hearing a story, I counseled 2,800 guys in the war zone.
Wow.
So when I hear a story, I kind of hear an echo of, I don't know, a couple hundred guys saying the same story at the same time that I'm hearing it from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone differentiates, but it's like a chorus. But then after that, it's like the summary of all of those voices is stick vet. That's your
So,
home.
right. Before we get into stick vet, I want to go back just a little bit because to me, it's important to hear from my veteran guests when you were looking to transition back to civilian life. What resources did the Army provide you to do that?
One lie.
A lie?
That's it. One lie and you're on your way. That's all they provide you with.
And what was the lie?
That you'll never be part of something bigger than yourself ever again. And when you walk out those doors, you're alone and you're no longer connected to the brotherhood. They
That's
use
what they gave you.
they use it as a guilt trip. They don't say those words, not quoting, but that's the point. Hey, we're all one here. We're a unit. You want to be alone? Go ahead, try and make it alone, but you're going to be alone. That's what they tell you. And it's retention. So it's the last person you see, and they tell you one lie, and then you leave. It's the only kind of message that echoes in your head when you walk out and into civilian sector. Now I have to do it alone. How am I going to do this alone?
Yeah.
Everything I was trained to do was as a squad, and now I'm alone. And you just kind of accept the helplessness and find the fortitude to get through it. And you could be years down a path before you realize you were lied to. The brotherhood never goes away. You just have to find your own squad.
Mm-hmm.
No one puts you in one. And
Right.
there are isolated veterans within a radius around you that are your squad. And you all have to squad up. That's the truth.
So you never had, like they have nowadays, of TAPS, right?
Probably not. No. I mean, they have a you're getting out of the military, blah, blah, blah thing, but anybody getting out of the military, it doesn't really matter what the program is. You're in the honeymoon phase. You just got back from the war. You're
Right.
getting out of the military. You are going to check everything's fine. I'm good. Bye.
Right.
There's a little bit of education you could do. We could kill that freaking lie. That would be great. An integration into the veteran community would be actual good things happening.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
a longer out processing is just more paperwork with a bunch of, yeah, sure, I'm fine.
Yeah. Very good point. So 9 months it took you to get out.
Yeah, to fight out.
Did you have something lined up for you prior to separating?
No.
No. So what happened for you once you transitioned back to civilian?
Oh, I got in a relationship with a veteran I deployed with, and we went through the VA system, got the disability, moved up to the Northwest. That's where I was working at the Portland Vet Center.
Okay.
Work counseling veterans of every era, non-vets mostly. And then, yeah. And so it was like, I forget what the question was, sorry.
That's okay. So just more of I know that, and I hear this a lot for veterans who don't already, those who are transitioning or, ready to separate, and they don't have something already in place for employment or what they're going to be doing next in their life, right? They tend to spiral mentally a lot quicker. And so I was curious where you would have fallen in that hypothesis of mine.
So I can always, well, before I screwed up my back in '06, I mean, like, I had this kind of like, I can always get a job. I can freaking swing a hammer at any construction yard, like, I grew up, my mom was a general contractor. I kind of grew up around it. So I have the confidence to just freaking work my way into a job easily. And there's a lot of that,
Nice.
like,
Nice.
available. So I always had that backdrop, just in case. I've screwed up my back. So that actually really limited my options. But then I had, just situationally, I had the like impossible thing happen. Like, I was a mental health specialist, and then I got a job at the Portland Vet Center as a provider. You're supposed to be a doctor. I was a high school graduate, but I had counseled
Wow.
2,800 soldiers in the war zone, and the vet center had counseled less than 1,000 in that entire year for the 12 of them.
Oh, wow. That's
So I
crazy.
was like, oh, oh, that's why you're hiring me. Okay. Like, you do enough work, you can get your way into a position. So, like, I had that thing happen. On the flip side, I had to do my healing. I couldn't handle being a provider at all. I lasted like 2 years and then snapped again. And I had to, I went through a series of loss and then ended up, going through my own healing in the mountains of the Cascades.
Hmm.
And a very, yep, just about living in the mountains, doing
Nice.
my work with gurus out there. And that was about 4 years of intense work that I dedicated my life to. But again, it was one of those, like, I had the loss to be able to do that. Not everybody can just be like, I'll be right back. I have to go to the mountains for a few years to do my healing.
Right.
That's not a
Right.
thing. So, like,
Exactly.
that's kind of like what led me towards the book and changing, what Step Vet has now evolved into. And where I focus on trying to take what I've learned and break down, like, the deep, the poetic pieces into just belief structures that need to be let go of,
Right.
and the tangible things you can do to do that letting go. And so that was kind of where the book became a thing, as well as Stick Vet, where I started. I always drew, like, my first comic was Stick Vet and Death. So I've always drawn the demons that we deal with. But this year, I have gone full bore into it, and I've drawn a dozen demons that we deal with, and I'm starting to really get
Wow.
into the depths of it. And yeah,
So
it's getting interesting.
is that something that you publishing that are for sale?
Yeah, so my first 100 comics are on Amazon. It's a book called Let's Get One Thing Straight. Stick
I'm
Vet
going to
Comics.
type this in here and put it up.
If you look up, oh, I can give you my links.
Oh, I got you. I'm going to show it on the screen here.
Yeah, and also on Amazon is my book called From Warrior to Veteran by Travis Stickvet Landchild. And that is, here's the two Amazon links. Copy.
There we go.
I'll put that in the private chat right here, I think.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and copy this over so everybody can kind of see what it looks like.
That's two links. That's one to the comic book, and then I'm publishing the next book. I publish my comics as I draw them on, yep, that's the book, From Warrior to Veteran. I almost called it all words, no pictures, because people are used to my comics. And then down there below, you can see it has a link to Stick Vet Comics. Let's get one thing straight, the comic book, and that's the first 120 comics, ending in the Colonel's story. But I post on Facebook and Patreon my comics as I draw them, and so and on, of course, on my Stick Nation Discord. So I kind of, except for a few exclusive pieces that I only put on the Patreon for the paid supporters, because every once in a while I get into a deep piece that I don't like. I have a part where Stick Vet finds God sitting on the corner of First and Amistad on a bench, just smoking a cigarette, just like the song says. And then they have a conversation, and it's Stick Vet asking questions to God, and they go back and forth. And I was like, I'm not posting this on the social media because I don't need the comment section going off. Like, this is just me. But I'm not trying to say anything really. I'm just putting this piece out there. So that's only on the Patreon, and pieces like that get a little too deep for social media to handle in a mature manner. But yeah, the next book is coming out by springtime.
Nice. Do you have a title for it?
The next one is The Veteran Can. Oh, no. That's right. That's the third book. The next one is Hold the Line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Let's get
Uh,
one thing straight, then Hold the Line, and then Sticks and Stones.
wow. Now, I see your coffee mug. I'm assuming that those are the caricatures that you have drawn.
Yep. This is my so that's Death, Haunt, the ghost of the fallen brother. Stick Dog is PTSD service dog. Stick Vet, Lefty, who only has a left arm. Chick Vet, and the Colonel.
Okay. And that's, I mean, the drawings really, when you think about it, although they're simple, right? But you could do so much with them. And
Yeah. I have been it was, it was funny because I started and I was like, Stick Vet literally was the veteran character and what he would say, because he was born in the margins of my ramblings. Like, I was trying to write a book. I wasn't actually trying to draw comics. I was trying to write a book about everything all that we had listened to and what we learned from it and all that.
oh
And
yeah.
what I accomplished was books full of insane ramblings and stuff. It just didn't work. And then every once in a while I would draw Stick Vet and he would make fun of me for being so whatever about some point and not making any sense. And then like it became kind of this back and forth between me and these characters I was creating in the margins, and they came to life there. And so it was in my frustrations to try and tell the veteran story, I created the characters that tell it perfectly, because there's nothing to Stick Vet. But then all of a sudden I am saying something, because all the civilians have a body and they have a face and they have facial expressions and they have emotions. And so now it's like, oh, the veteran is the dehumanized one. And he doesn't even have a body that's normal. He's separate in his body, and every single piece of it has symbolic meaning. He
right.
smoked. All of them smoke, because that's them doing what they can, even though it's unhealthy, just to try and be human.
Right.
And because in the Army, the only time you were allowed to be a human is in a smoke pit.
In your area, are you aware of any resources for veterans outside of the VA?
Sure. Yeah. I'm in a city, like I'm in Cleveland, Ohio right now. So there's veteran groups of all kinds out here. I was connected with a few. I'm not connected with anything locally currently. I have my Stick Nation Discord is kind of where I spend a ton of my time. I have an online community that I'm heavily connected with, but Yeah, like I was part of a group here that was man, helping vets get go through their home loan process and get a home, and they were kind of like fixer uppers
Hmm.
to the appraiser's standard before the buy,
Right.
like technically doing the work for the seller, but just in order to buy it for the veteran and stuff. It was a good group, good work, you know, honorable
Nice.
mission, and
Yeah.
that was veterans for nope. Riders of Valor. Jeez, it took me a while to
Huh?
Riders of Valor. They are a uh, uh, organization here in the Cleveland area, but I'm not really connected to a ton. A little bit. I have a lot of guys going through Path, which is an organization that has a retreat for veterans, and they go through it, and then afterwards they try to have like an online community of support and stuff. And there's a recreation space that takes veterans shooting that I promote from time to time and take them on hunts as well as have kind of campfire moments.
Those are wonderful times.
And so there's different organizations, and they're connected through my Discord, a lot of them. And we have an in-house VSO, and we have a guy that helps people with resumes. It's kind of a little veteran group that we have going on right there online in the Discord. But that's become a new invention because I've tried to do it a couple times, but I couldn't actually build the whole systems. I don't have that like data brain, and so I have somebody that did that, and now we have a great community. And I run what we call not a counseling groups, uh, which is just a group of veterans and
Hanging
people.
around the fire pit,
Yep,
smoking.
yep.
I got you.
So what we do is I took the book I wrote
Hmm.
and I go through and I made it into a YouTube series called The Warrior's Reflection, and we go through one or two pieces of that and then have a conversation. So it's kind of like a watch party of watching, and I bring up other guides, content, and stuff as well of like whatever's parallel to what we're dealing with. And it's kind of a what's going on? Where do you want to start? Oh, I'm having an issue with this. Okay, let's talk about that. And we don't talk about it. We listen to a mentor about it, and then we talk about it and stuff. So it's a little effortless, in that, and it's also copyable. So it's a very easy format to be able to do some of the hard work without needing someone who's officially there trying to make sure no. We just do it ourselves. And
So someone has posted, don't forget the Monday special.
oh yeah, we um we watch Kill Tony live on Mondays as a way of starting our day with our week with humor, as like just a watch party in the evenings on Mondays, because that's when the episodes pop on the YouTube, and so it
Nice.
just became kind of the way to start it with just laughing, and so that's fun. That's become literally just a thing that I already did because I'm a fan. I'm like, you guys want it too? Okay, yeah. So it became a thing now, and we make it into a bingo night and stuff. It's fun, but it's mostly just us hanging out and chatting. We have a smoke pit that's just hanging out and stuff and telling jokes, and I will draw comics live. I'll sit in one of the rooms and I'll share my screen and I'll be sitting there drawing as people kind of are just riffing in the background and hanging out,
Yeah.
and every once in a while they say something and I'm like, that's hilarious, that's a comic right now, and I make a comic about what they were just joking about in the moment. And so it's become kind of a community creative space and everything, and that's really neat.
That is really neat. Um, I'm going to go ahead and ask in the comments, everybody who's out there in the comments or who wants to comment, if you have questions for Travis, go ahead and put them out there and we will get those answered for you. But while we wait for that, let me ask you this.
Sure.
If you could give words of wisdom to somebody interested in joining the military, what would those words be?
Do I like them?
You like everybody.
No. Like, do I like them? So I have two answers. It depends. I don't
Well,
say the same
I'll leave
thing.
that up to you because
I'm very judgmental. So if I got a kid and I'm like, you're a good kid, you're a good kid, join the Coast Guard. They have a 90 something 6% retention rate. Good luck getting in. And when you get in, duh, they like it. They have a 96% retention rate. Like there's a reason for that. They
yeah,
will take care of you. That so and it's a different. Their camaraderie is tight. But if I get a kid that's like, I don't know, a D to D, just like, oh boy, you got attitude that needs squared away. You know, Marines are really awesome. You need to
I
see something
laugh
else.
because, as I told you before the show, I have two Marine veterans. So,
If you so like I will say as a guide, I will one of my go-to lines is if you're 100 pieces of self, how many of those pieces got swapped out in the military? How many got
mm,
swapped out in war? And your number is going to be higher if you were a Marine than if you were an Air Force. Just reality. That's just part of the truth of it. Unless you were a pilot in the Air Force, never mind. Those guys get full swapped. That's a lot of training.
yeah,
Depends on your training, like how much time you got in. That's another thing. How long were you indoctrinated in that military culture? That makes a huge difference. Got to remember, PTSD is one slice of a pie, and
yes,
it's like a tiny slice, the 20th. So that's barely part of it. The culture shift is much bigger of a piece.
there you go. That's very, very interesting information too when you put it in those perspectives. Um, and I really like the analogy of that. So thank you for that because it really does. You're kind of forced to start separating your moments out,
Well,
right?
and it's something I always flip on its head.
Yeah,
War taught me
yeah,
that I could change in every single aspect of who I am. War just did it for me first.
right.
Crawl, walk, run. Now do it for yourself. Now
Hmm.
do it again and keep doing it and live different versions of yourself throughout your life.
Yeah,
I believe that you can actually change in every single aspect of yourself, maybe every 7 years, and live a different version of you.
hmm,
I was living my healthiest self for about a decade. And that was the core of everything I did and every decision I made. That was my core intention throughout every single situation, circumstance, or event. Do what's healthiest, not what's best, not to win, healthy, not to be successful either. I've
right.
been I've been kind of poor. But living peacefully. And now I kind of totally switched gears last year. I let go of my healthiest self because I'm, you know, I became much more ambitious. I went from nothing to a YouTube video every single week for a while until I published not just a series but also a book. And now I'm pushing heavy into a whole new story. I just did a whole 20 parts story in Stick Vet about Hunt and Stick, finally mourning his brother that he lost in the war zone, his
Yeah,
soldier, and dealing with Hunt and how to, and specifically, not just like,
right,
oh, it's bothering me, but just like how to go through the steps.
right.
And so I'm not living my healthiest self. Much more ambitious, a little bit more anti-authority. Successful is more oriented towards what I'm aiming at rather than healthy.
Right. So Iron Mike has asked if you think the Army has properly prepared you for the job overseas.
No, but no. But it also admitted that it couldn't. Like, we had to do a suicidal talk down by the book. So like I had to make sure that I was keeping the script, and I kept screwing up because I know the guy and be like, well, I'm really, upset about my sister. And I'd be like, oh, because her husband just died. Because I know, because I'm friends with him, and I forgot. We're role playing. This isn't real. He's not really suicidal. We're just trying to go through the motions of a test. And so I kept like actually doing a real like thing, and then no, just read the script. You're supposed to say, dur, 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 dur. And so like it was so like even the instructors were like, okay, so this is how you do it, but like never do it this way. Never just say these words. Never just recite this script. And it's like, why? So it was a new program as well, ish. Mental health had only been around a while. And like, when I was going through, Navy and Marines were in my class at AIT with us because that was the mental health class that the Army was running. Navy and Marines didn't even have it yet. So they were like trialing it with these guys and stuff. So like, that's how new it was. So like, no, they couldn't prepare us, and they knew it. The most genius thing they did was honestly have us work inpatient psych and screw with us a little bit just to freaking break us just once before we go out there, because it's going to be rough. And it was, until I had that combat patch on, it was really hard. But just to get them to open up, building rapport is a lot of work.
Yeah, trust.
Sorry, I'm tangenting.
That's all right. I'm not seeing any other comments here. I do want to say to everybody out in the comments, thank you all for coming out tonight and joining the conversation. If you haven't already, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up at the end of the show, quick comment, and also subscribe if you haven't already done so, because we would love to see the numbers come up. I only do this once a week, so it's slow goings, but we're moving, steadily like a snail. I'm happy about that. Always going forward. And I want to say thank you also, Travis, very, very much for taking the opportunity to join me tonight and to share your story and, keeping it real, right? I mean, that's what this channel's about is telling your truth and helping you as a veteran to be able to get it out and know that other veterans who are going to be listening to this or watching this later are going to be able to connect with you in that regard and say, I know exactly what he's talking about. So I really appreciate that. And if you want to hang tight for me, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here in just a minute. But I do want to ask one more thing. Do you have any last minute words that you want to share with everybody?
So I guess if I'm going to just break it all to one thing, you're still in a squad. You just haven't found them yet. You were trained to be in a squad. You were programmed to be in one. You just have to do the part where you get in one.
Right.
What a veteran is so much based upon the squad that they're currently in and what that mission is, and as opposed to what they've done in the past. So if you're watching this and you can't think of that group of guys that you hang out with once a week face to face, make that a reality in your life in whatever way you can. And if you're not getting together that often, make that a reality.
I think that's amazing. And hopefully people will hear that and really make it a point to accept that new reality of where they're at in their life and what's in front of them. So if you thank you very much for that. And for everybody else who's joined, and thank you very much. We really appreciate you guys. And I want to say Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. Happy New Year to you and your families. And again, join me please next week. With any luck, we will have another guest. So uh, we will see you again next Sunday, 6 p.m. Central Time. Thank you all. If you want to hang tight for me, Travis.
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you for
Good
having
night.
me.
Good night, everybody.